Get these morons off the air. I'm warning you.
Hey, do you want to watch a movie? Yeah, I do. What movie? The film we're discussing. The film we're discussing. The film we're discussing has its own special spot in the big old wall of films, the Reverend's big old wall of films.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and they-thems. It is I, the Reverend Jess, and this is the Big Old Wall of Films podcast, the one-man self-indulgent podcast dedicated to my movie collection from myself, the Reverend Jess of Fat Lulz Radio. How you doing, folks? It's been a minute. I've been pretty busy doing things. It's been a very hectic few years. When you last left me, I was still working on getting 1,000 individual films. I have now surpassed that by quite a margin. But rest assured, that just means more content once I actually get my stuff together and really start putting in the work to have this be a more regular thing, which I'm hoping to do, which is exactly what we're doing here today. So, on that note, how are you? How have things been going? Have you been taking care of yourself? Have you been watching a lot of good movies? Have you been watching a lot of terrible movies? Have you been wasting money on this terrible, terrible state of entertainment where all the corporations own everything? We now have Paramount coming up the world as a monopoly and owning everything. It's a sad state of affairs. I've been keeping an eye out in the physical media collectors groups on Facebook, and the response to Paramount purchasing Warner Brothers has been kind of mixed. On one hand, you get the people that are saying, well, at least it's not Netflix, so we still have the possibility for physical media. But on the other hand, you have, Paramount, the company that is in the pocket of the terrible people that run this country. Cool. Love that. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough time to be a movie lover, but let's take some time and talk about some new movies that I got, and let's not think about the sad state. These are the new arrivals.
Hey, guess what? I got some new movies going up on the wall today. This is what are the new arrivals on the Reverend's big old wall of films.
That's right, folks. It's the new arrivals. It's the stuff that I get in between episodes. And obviously, I'm not going to go through the 1,000 plus that I've gotten since the last time we talked. But most recently, I got my hands on quite a few, going down to the library sale and taking a look and seeing what they got there. At the most recent library sale, I picked up quite a bit. I picked up Darkness, House of Flying Daggers, Tequila Sunrise, Gladiator 2, Black Hawk Down on Blu-ray for like $1. That's the true beauty of the library sale, where you can get Blu-rays for $1. I got Up in the Air. I got Assault on Precinct 13, the remake. I already have the original. But, I want to have the ability to kind of compare and contrast on this show, where I can watch both of them and kind of knock out in one episode, remake versus original, and see which one's better. Obviously, you know as well as I do, that's going to go in a specific way, right? Like, most of the time, the remake is definitely worse. I can think of like maybe 2 examples where the remake was not worse, but either or. But yeah, we're going to be getting back into it. I definitely got kind of broke recently because of trying to secure this new place. So once I have a disposable income again, and the next library sale comes up, or I decide to pop into a thrift store, or maybe, just maybe, Shout Factory has another sale. I'll be able to update you with some new and exciting stuff and not stuff that I just sort of come across. But either way, so yeah, those are some new arrivals for you. There'll be more in the time being. If you ever wonder what is in my collection, you can check out my CLZ Movies page, which my whole collection is listed there. But yeah, so that's the new arrivals. But one thing I did want to note is I was able to get my hands on Lost Highway, the Criterion David Lynch movie. And I was able to get that for like next to nothing, thanks to someone in the Physical Media Collectors group. I'll tell you what, as far as movies go, I am a fan of David Lynch quite a bit, but his Criterions are definitely worth the money. I feel like with the amount of features they put on those things, it's just baffling. I just really hate paying Criterion prices. And it's a shame because I'm like my own worst enemy, right? So physical media can only go on as long as people are supporting it. But I just really can't justify such a fucking high price. I just can't do it. So anytime I can get my hands on a Criterion for substantially cheaper, I do my best to do so. But yeah, so those are the new arrivals. And yeah, good times, good times. I'm excited to get back into it once I actually have money to burn and I'd be able to pick some stuff up. But rest assured, with the higher frequency that this show is going to be doing, rest assured you're going to be hearing about plenty of stuff I was able to pick up and reviewing new Blu-rays even. But yeah, let's talk about one movie.
Let me stumble over to the family room that's down the hall. Grab myself a movie that sits on the movie wall. It's the movie we're discussing, so just sit right back and chill. It's the Reverend and his big old wall of films.
That's right, folks. It is time to get into the topic of this episode. The movie that I'm pulling off the wall and taking a look at, reviewing, giving my thoughts on, what have you. And yeah, we're going to go deep into the archives here. A movie that was a total flop when it came out and went on to have a second life as a cult film through television showings and home media. It stars the 2022 Best Actor Oscar winner, and Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler, and Rob Zombie. It is the quintessential 1994 masterpiece, known simply as Airheads. That's right, the film tells the story of three wayward musicians desperate to make it in the brutal 90s Los Angeles music scene and hope to get their record played on the radio. So they break into a radio station armed with squirt guns and proceed to kind of accidentally, kind of a comedy of errors, end up holding the station hostage. And yeah, it just sort of snowballs from there. Think Dog Day Afternoon mixed with Wayne's World. It's very fun. Very fun, very funny. Has an all-star cast, including Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, Ernie Hudson, Joe Mantegna. A fantastic, fantastic group of people. And man, I do not get the hate for this movie. Looking at the critic scores, it's currently sitting at 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I do not get it. It is so much better than that. It is one of those movies that you sit there and you just have a good time with. It's extremely dated in its comedy. There's definitely a lot of stuff that kind of makes you cringe in certain moments, but I do feel like it's a nice little time capsule of like the Los Angeles rock and roll scene. And it's just so So funny. So let's get into it. Let me talk about what I love. Let me talk about what I don't like. But yeah, this is the quintessential 1994 Airheads with Brendan Fraser and Adam Sandler and Steve Buscemi. But before I get into that, before I get into the movie, I do want to talk about the version that I have, which is the reissue of the DVD. And I have to tell you, it is a poor excuse for a DVD. It is one of those DVDs that definitely I paid full price for like $14.99, I think. And I definitely feel like I got ripped off. You know, it's one of those movies where they really like just fucking like Anchor Bay put it out, right? And it's such a lazy reissue. There's no special features. There's not even a goddamn menu. So literally it just feels like I'm watching a bootleg. It really does. At least the Warner Archive movies that I've bought have had menus. This is pathetic. It is ridiculously bare bones. Luckily, there's still English subtitles, which is more than I can say for my Faculty Blu-ray. I haven't picked up the Shout Factory one yet, but this one is just garbage. It looks fine. You know, I mean, it's DVD quality, but the fact that there's no menu, no special features, it is just appalling. So if you're going to get it, if you're going to hunt it down and try and find it, I don't think they've put out some sort of like fancy version of it, you know, like a Shout Factory or a fucking Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know. But if you're going to pick it up, just look for the original one, because at least that one has a fucking menu on it. Like I literally feel ripped off when I put it on. And it's so funny because I can't even just like let it sit, right? Like it's one of those movies where if I go to sleep while watching it, I'm going to wake up, it's still going to be playing, because as soon as it finishes out, it just rotates and goes back around. So you'll get like, you know, the end, like, oh, this DVD was published by blah, 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 blah. And then the movie just starts over again because there's no menu to go to. So yeah, definitely hunt down the original if you can. I probably will at some point just because this is pathetic. But yeah, so getting into that, let's talk about the actual film.
A band of failed musicians lashing out at the society that won't listen to them.
I'll fill your face so full of lead you'll be shitting bullets for a week, you no-dick loser!
Now, with a movie from 1994, you're going to deal with 1994 comedy, which is totally fine. It's an acquired taste if you're not from that era and if you didn't grow up in that era. So expect to hear, you know, stuff that's considered homophobic, consider definitely a lot of very, very, very dated concepts of a woman's role in a relationship. But I definitely do feel like, because it's from that time capsule and because I've been lucky enough to grow as a person and grow up in an era that is learning. I do feel like I'm fine with where it's at, because I know it's from 1994. I definitely feel like the character of Kayla definitely kind of feels like a 90s stereotype of what a girlfriend is supposed to be.
I hate you. You are nobody, and you are never going to be anybody.
Which is, you know, it's unfortunate, but presumably we're well past this point. It almost borders on parody, honestly. And I do feel like the typical burnout mindset that is shown by the three leads, it's definitely like, it definitely gives the same vibe as like, oh, this is what corporate America thought of rock and roll guys.
Do you know what it's like to be on the bill and to play for 15 minutes and the only people there to see you are the other bands and their girlfriends? Don't talk to me about rock and roll. I'm out there in the clubs and on the streets and I'm living it. I am rock and roll. Which,
you know, it is what it is. But if you look at it from that lens and you kind of have that self-awareness, you can kind of just enjoy what the characters are. It's very much so, like I said, Wayne's World-esque, which I feel like is what they were trying to capitalize on when they were doing it. They were just like, oh, Wayne's World made a shit ton of money, so let's throw this together. We'll throw Adam Sandler in it because he's from SNL and this, that, and the other. But the true brilliance of the film, in my opinion, comes from the cast of side characters. Chris Farley is fucking hysterical in the film as this like by the books cop who is definitely not meant to be a cop.
God help us all!
Ernie Hudson is like your straight-laced kind of like, he's kind of Winston-esque, but also pretty similar to the character that he played in The Crow. As far as the radio DJs at the actual radio station that they take over, Joe Mantegna as Ian the Shark is fantastic. He's got a nice character arc where he goes from not understanding the youth of the current day of 1994 to supporting it because he realizes that the attitude that he was desperately missing in music is still there. It's just a different type.
We're a band.
Oh, of course, the Partridge Family. Which one of you is Laurie?
And then you have someone like Michael McKean, who plays the terrible station director.
I will not be pushed around by Hollywood Boulevard trash like you.
Who is total poser in the music industry. Like it's summed up nicely when Ian the Shark calls him out and says, "You don't even listen to music, Milo." You know? But he's just hysterical. His back and forth with Brendan Fraser is great.
Okay, I know you guys think I'm a real dick cheeseburger or whatever, but you're going to need someone to negotiate for you.
Steve Buscemi is such a national treasure, in my opinion. I think that dude can do any role and make it convincing. He is just as convincing as Rex the bassist as he was as Crazy Eyes in Mr. Deeds or any of the countless roles he's played for the Coen brothers. He definitely seems like he's having a good time with the role.
Aloha out there in Radio Land. This is Oedipus Rex on WKPP Rex.
And I do feel somewhat of a kinship with the Lone Rangers because at the end of the day, is this not the same? Is this not the same as what they're doing, taking over a radio station? I'm just trying to be part of it. That's why I bought studio equipment. I record a podcast for presumably nobody listening. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if I have 1 million listeners. It doesn't matter if I have 1 listener. And that's just me doing the edit. I just want to be involved. I just want to be a part of something. I just want to create. And so many moments in this film, I do feel like they have such a realistic take on someone who probably doesn't fit the bill of what the success is supposed to look like. And I do feel like it's summed up nicely where they do get some sort of comeuppance for what they do. They have, spoiler alert, by the way, if we're in this moment and you haven't decided to go check it out, this is always going to be spoiler territory. They end up in jail at the end of it. They don't get to walk away and be successful, even though Jimmy Wing at Palantine wants them to be. He tells them like, "Oh, you rock stars don't go to jail." He's played by Judd Nelson, of all people. Fucking John Bender grew up to be a corporate radio slob. But yeah, definitely just a great 90-minute comedy with some funny lines, funny dialogue, some great 90s references. Fucking White Zombie performs in the movie. You have Beavis and Butthead calling the radio station. You know, it's just all these moments, like the whole moment where he's trying to stir up the crowd and he gets them to chant Rodney King, of all things.
Holy shit.
Rodney King? What's that supposed to mean?
He's that guy.
It was so funny because, like, it's 2 years after that happened, you know, and here we are, you know, making reference to it. It doesn't nearly hold a candle to, you know, the Attica scene from Dog Day Afternoon, but that's very clear what they're going for. And I definitely do feel like it almost borders on parody of something like Dog Day Afternoon. But I do feel like it works. I love this movie. I really do. Now, that's not saying that it's not with flaws. Like I said, the dated comedy can make you cringe at some point. There are definitely like some pretty unnecessary moments. Michael Richards is in it, which, it's really hard not to have his performances sullied by just who he was as a person, and still is, presumably, even though he tries to claim that he's not. But like, the whole deal with like the SWAT team, that guy never really gets his comeuppance. He just kind of gets kicked in the dick, and that's the end of it. I just feel like a lot of times in the movie, you do have quite a few moments where you can kind of roll your eyes just as like the dialogue is written. But I do feel like, yeah, it's a small, unfortunate aspect of it that doesn't ruin my viewing. But as far as where I'm at as rating goes, this movie got, the last time I watched it on Letterboxd, I gave it a 5, which, keep in mind, my ratings are fucking pointless. They mean nothing. But a 5 means that it's one of my favorites. I will make sure that I own it. I will break into your house and steal it from you if I have to make sure that I have it. Now, I wouldn't actually do that, mainly because I have a fear of jail. But I do feel like it's one of those ones. I have nostalgia tied to it. I watched it a lot when I was younger. I used to have the original version on DVD. And yeah, I don't know. It's the one thing though that has always fucked with me is I'm 100% 100% sure that I remember the lyrics of the Motorhead song being different in the subtitles. And I feel like it's like this weird Mandela effect thing, but that's neither here nor there. If you're curious about that, I'll give you some more details. In the song, they say, born to raise hell, born to raise hell. I remember the lyrics on the DVD being shown in the subtitles as "me and your children will die right in hell," which doesn't sound like it makes sense lyrically, which was always why it kind of stood out to me. But if you listen to the song and if you watch the updated DVD, the subtitles say "be a good soldier and die where you fell," which definitely seemed more in line with Motorhead's lyrics. But I don't know. Do you remember it that way? Maybe when I search up the original version of the DVD, maybe I'll track that down and kind of see if I was crazy. Maybe it was just a mistake on the part of the people that were running the subtitling for that DVD. But either way, so that's Airheads, folks. Those are my thoughts on Airheads. My recommendation is that you go out and watch it. Pick up the DVD if you can, specifically the original one, because it actually has a menu, and there's a better graphic, in my opinion. It's kind of them against the police lineup wall, whereas the reissue is just some basic image that just says Airheads on it. Also, the disc looks better. The disc is like one of those classic 1990s DVDs where it has a graphic on it that's similar to like a 1997 PC game. But yeah, I definitely recommend you checking it out. So pick it up. Airheads, starring Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler, from 1994. Available in a bare bones terrible version from Anchor Bay. Good luck finding it. If you can find it in the wild, it's worth $1. If that version specifically, the movie's worth more, but that DVD of it is at least worth $1. So pick it up used. Do not pay the ridiculous amounts that they want for it on Amazon. Don't do that. But as far as a final summation, yes, I do recommend the film. I do recommend you watch it. It's worth picking up if you can find the right version of it. But yeah, definitely gets a seal of approval. Definitely gets a seal of support, a seal of nostalgia, and most importantly, a seal of folks. folks, I think that's going to do it for the dramatic comeback of the Big Old Wall of Films podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was a enjoyable time where we talked about a movie that if you haven't seen, maybe you're interested in seeing now, or if you have seen it, had a nice little nostalgic memory about. If you want to follow me on the socials, don't. Social media is terrible, but if you must insist, just look at the Fat Lulz Radio Facebook page or on Instagram, RevJess_Fat Lulz Radio. I'm going to be a little more active on here. I'm excited to get this back up and running, but for right now, this will just have to do you. I don't know when I'll be back. I don't know when I'll have the time to sit down and record another one of these, but I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to you about Airheads, and yeah, for now, keep watching movies, keep talking about them, and all in all, this is just another film in the wall. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Join us here next week on Reverend's Big Ol' Wall of Films. The film we're discussing. The film we're discussing. The film we're discussing has its own special spot in the Big Ol' Wall of Film. The Reverend's Big Ol' Wall of Film.
The Reverend's Big Ol' Wall of Films is brought to you by Fat Lulz Radio and sponsored by Counting Worm Shop and the Rev Just Movie Drop Project.
This has been a Fat Lulz Radio production. To hear more shows like this, go to soundcloud.com/Fat Lulz Radio.
Number 13, Naked Pictures of B. Arthur.
Hi, how are you? B. Arthur? Outstanding.